Have you ever felt surrounded by people, yet completely alone? Loneliness doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it hides behind a cheerful smile, a busy day, or even the sound of laughter. But in the quiet moments, when no one's watching, it settles in like an old friend we never invited. Today, I want to talk about a truth many seniors quietly carry, and what a few joyful ones do that changes everything. 1. A personal moment. When I turned 66, I found myself staring at the same coffee cup each morning. The phone rarely rang, the kids were busy, friends had moved, and my once bustling schedule had grown silent. I wasn't unhappy, just invisible. And that feeling, it wasn't just me. According to recent studies, nearly 1 in 3 adults over 65 experiences frequent loneliness. And it's not just an emotional burden. Loneliness has been linked to higher risks of heart disease, depression, and even memory loss. But here's the secret I discovered after watching some of the happiest seniors around me. They weren't necessarily richer, healthier, or living with family. They simply connected deeply, intentionally, and often. Let me show you what they do differently. 2, they initiate contact first. Happy seniors don't wait for someone else to make the first move. They call their grandchildren on random Tuesdays just to say hello. They leave voice messages not out of need, but out of love. They don't worry if a message feels too short or too silly. They know the act itself builds bridges. And yes, sometimes it feels one-sided. But those who keep reaching out eventually build something lasting: a rhythm, a routine, a relationship. One woman I met, Margaret, 72, writes a postcard every Sunday to someone in her old address book. Sometimes they reply, sometimes they don't. But she says, each card is like a seed. Some bloom, some don't. But I keep planting. 3, they embrace the old ways of connection. In a world of texts and emojis, the happiest seniors often return to something beautifully simple: handwriting. A handwritten letter feels like a hug in an envelope. It says, I took time. I remembered you. You matter. Frank, 74, writes a letter to his college friend every month, even though they live only one town apart. When you read a letter, he said, you hear the person's voice in your head. It's different than a text. It's deeper. Even a short handwritten note left on a neighbor's door or slipped into a grandchild's backpack can spark warmth for days. 4, they join something bigger than themselves. One of the most powerful ways to break loneliness isn't through people you know, it's through people you don't yet. Happy seniors often belong to something: a gardening club, a local choir, a morning walking group, a volunteer team at the food pantry. Not because they have to, but because belonging gives life rhythm and meaning. At 70, Daniel joined a community theater group as a backstage helper. He didn't act. He didn't even like crowds. But in painting sets and making coffee for rehearsals, he found connection, not through performance but presence. 5. They used technology with intention, not obsession. Let's face it, Zoom isn't the same as a hug, but for many happy seniors, technology is a window, not a wall. They don't scroll endlessly. They schedule a weekly video call with a cousin, a group chat with former coworkers. Even short voice messages can turn a digital device into a lifeline. If you're unsure how to use these tools, ask someone younger. Most are more than happy to help, and that moment of teaching becomes its own connection. Technology, when used wisely, helps happy seniors feel empowered, not left behind. 6. They welcome new faces even when it's uncomfortable. Making new friends at 70 isn't easy. We carry memories, routines, and sometimes the weight of grief. But happy seniors keep their hearts open to strangers who might become something more. They say yes to invitations, even when they'd rather stay in. They strike up small conversations at the pharmacy, at church, or waiting in line at the bank. Because connection doesn't always arrive through history sometimes, it comes through curiosity. Helen, 68, met her best friend at a senior yoga class. They didn't hit it off instantly, but they both kept coming. Over time, laughter replaced small talk. Now, they travel together twice a year. It started with one nervous hello. 7. They make space for others who are lonely. 2. Here's something beautiful I noticed. The happiest seniors don't just seek connection, they create it for others. They visit neighbors who rarely come outside. They bring extra cookies to bingo nights. They listen more than they speak. By offering presence, they find their own sense of place. Because sometimes the best cure for loneliness is helping someone else feel less alone. 8. They speak their needs with courage. Many older adults were raised to be strong, silent, and self-reliant. But happy seniors know that vulnerability is strength, not weakness. They say things like, "I'd love some company this weekend. Would you be open to chatting sometime?" Or simply, "I've been feeling a bit lonely lately." And more often than not, someone hears them, not because they shouted, but because they shared. 9. They reconnect with their past without living in it. Happy seniors remember the good times, but they don't live only in memories. They look through photo albums and pick up the phone to reconnect with an old friend. They revisit places that once brought joy, not to feel sad, but to honor the journey. But they also create new memories. They take day trips, try new recipes, write stories for their grandchildren. Because joy lives both in yesterday and tomorrow if we're willing to look. Loneliness is real, and it's heavy, but it doesn't have to be permanent. Whether it's writing a letter, calling a friend, or simply opening your door to the world again, every act of connection is a step toward light. To anyone watching who feels unseen, unheard, or forgotten, please know this. You matter. Your voice still matters. And somewhere out there, someone is waiting for your smile, your story, your kindness. Have you ever felt lonely after 65? What helped you through it? Share your thoughts in the comments. Someone reading might need your words more than you know. If this message touched your heart, please consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who might need a reminder that they're not alone. Because together, we can build a kinder, more connected world, one story at a time.